at the Arizona 49. On 2nd and 9, Watson looking pass deflected, high in the air, and it is caught. Cooper, touchdown!
Welcome back to another Valley Sports Plug Arizona Cardinals recap for week 9 of the 2023 NFL season. I'm Chris Patrick. That's VSP Tallman. And we're going to break it all down for you. The Arizona Cardinals on the road once again, a trip to Ohio to take on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland Browns Stadium. Kyler Murray still not activated from the PUP list. Joshua Dobbs was traded to the Minnesota Vikings, so Clayton Tune would get his first career start at quarterback for the Redbirds on Sunday. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at how the scoring broke down in this Week 9 matchup. The Browns scored all the points, literally all of them. It started with a Dustin Hopkins 30-yard field goal in the second. Later that quarter, an 11-yard touchdown pass to Amari Cooper from Deshaun Watson. As time expired in the half, Dustin Hopkins made a 45-yard field goal, and the score was 13-0 Browns at the break. In the third, David Njoku hauled in a touchdown off a 5-yard pass from Watson, and in the fourth, Kareem Hunt ran in for a 3-yard cherry-on-top touchdown. The final score in this one was 27-0 Browns, and the Arizona Cardinals fall to 1-8 on the season. An ugly game, Tallman. What'd you see out there on Sunday?
Yeah, Chris, it was a very challenging game. That's one way to put it. But I don't know about you, but I think that was our first truly embarrassing loss. We've had some bad losses this year, but that one was just flat out embarrassing. Some things that stuck out to me, the offensive line, that was the worst performance of the year. And that was one group on the team that, was actually holding their own a little bit, but they couldn't block anybody. Myles Garrett had basically a field day on that offensive line. He was off the line. He was after the quarterback, after Clayton Tune, like no other. And Tune was running around for his life. Then you look at the defense. Our defense actually did okay, keeping Deshaun Watson in check, even though I don't think just Deshaun Watson is that great of a player. He's definitely not worth the $240 million that he's guaranteed. But, he was coming back, shaking off some rust, but we kept him in check. The way the offense played, it almost felt like that game should have been 40-0, right? Not 27-0 that we saw. But the big story of the day was Clayton Tune. I mean, you can't put it all on the kid. He was thrown out to the wolves. I mean, as much as it hurts me to say, we were without Michael Wilson, who has been a key contributor on offense so far this season. But the lack of talent was just, we keep saying that. The lack of talent was just absolutely shining on this football game. And Clayton Tune, an inexperienced quarterback with no skilled players around him, no talented players around him, that's what happens. That's what happens. You get 58 yards of offense. It really explains to you the Dobbs trade. We couldn't have 8 weeks of Clayton Tune starting at quarterback. We couldn't afford 8 straight games to start the season that looked like today. And that's why this front office traded for Dobbs, because it was part of the plan, part of the grand plan. We needed to be competitive, but still find a way to lose the game and build culture, build some type of winning and competitive culture. So the big story, though, after this game is, when's Kyler Murray coming back? We really need him back now. At this point, we saw what Dobbs did for us. Obviously, he's in another city playing for another team. We saw what Clayton Tune's doing, and that kid's just not ready. He's not ready to play. I'm not saying he needs to be cut from the team or he can't be a backup or maybe a starter in the future, but this kid's not ready. He needs some more time. And we need Kyler back right now. This fan base needs Kyler back right now. This team, to have any chance to win a football game, needs Kyler back right now. And I think we're going to see him next week against the Atlanta Falcons. But terrible game, very embarrassing loss. And only having 58 yards in offense, it was a hard football game to watch. And hopefully that's not the same case next week.
We all wanted to know what Clayton Tune had. Could he be a starter? And at least we got our answer this week. It's tough to swallow. You mentioned the 58 yards of passing offense the Cardinals generated, and you compare that to one play the Browns had, a 59-yard pass to Amari Cooper from Deshaun Watson. Tallman, on one play, the Browns had more yards passing than the Cardinals did all day. That is just absolutely bonkers. Not something you ever want to see from your football team. So you're right. Clayton Tune is not ready to be the starter. And I agree wholeheartedly. Kyler Murray needs to come back. I would have really liked to see him come back in this Browns game. I predicted it earlier this year. And funny enough, you and Michael Benjamin predicted that he would come back week 10 against the Falcons. And so here we are. he actually has to be activated in order to be eligible to come back to the roster at all. So I expect he will be activated. I think that was the news popping up on Monday. So we'll have to keep an eye on that because he's going to be a crucial part in giving us any chance to be competitive. But I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of questions still to be asked about this team, what their goals are, what their motivations are. We've joked about tank season and talked about it extensively, but kind of seems like you said, Tallman, it's all part of the plan. We'll just have to see what happens. They're back at home Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. Kickoff is 2:05 p.m. Arizona time. We're going to keep bringing you a recap of every single Cardinals game this season. So make sure you subscribe right here on YouTube and set those notifications so you can stay up to date with all the Valley Sports and Arizona Cardinals action. For VSP Tallman, I'm Chris Patrick. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Cardinals fans, it's time to stand in